Okay, okay, they have been given. I'm sorry, there is some technical hitch I'm seeing over there. I'm trying to resolve. I'm trying to resolve.
Sorry, you are not audible, sir.
Then we try to look at it, the aspect of understanding this incubation center, okay, through the word called as an accelerator order. Okay, that is what we try to do. Next, we try to look at it. The word which is associated with this is venture capital order. Okay. Now, this is something a new term. It's not a new term, but it is a quite an old term. But these people have got a lot of saying now. Okay, and they've got a good opportunity to support the innovations over there. Okay, so the next term which is associated with them is venture capitalist order. Okay, so what these venture capitalists are? These are the individuals or a group of individuals who wish to fund a true incubation center, being a mediatory to an idea. Okay. Now, when I say an idea over there, okay, to an idea over there, it comes with an something called as an interest rate also. Okay. So there would be an interest rate, or there might be a stake in a company. Okay. They might also ask for something called as an I want a stake in your organization, and that is where it is called. Okay. The best part of this is they fund the ventures. They fund the ventures over there. Okay. And these ventures are known to the company. Okay, so it is called as a venture capitalist. Okay. So I'm not going to discuss how much percentage it is. Legally, if you look at it, if an incubation center wants to get into it, they might get into 2% to 5% to 10%. Max, they might go up to 12%. So it depends on each venture order. Okay, how to look at it as such. Okay, so they become a part of venture capital. Then comes another word called as an angel funding. Okay, angel funding are similar to venture capitalists, but they act as an angels. Okay, now what do they do over there is that venture capitalists might evaluate a lot of ideas and then look at making an investment. Angel is someone who finds it the idea to be really good. He takes a little bit of a higher risk and invests in an idea or in an venture or in a, so that these are the different ones. But the rate of interest would be significantly high, or the stake might be really high in this kind of a venture stakeholder. Okay. Then comes another word which is quite associated with this. Okay, is called as makerspace. Many people really look at it. Okay, so when I speak about the makerspace or an idea lab, this is basically a combination of all the technologies providing an opportunity to an individual. Okay. Let's take an example. I've got some idea related to an IoT for a machine. Okay, and I'm working on that particular machine, and it is giving a solution to a foundry company, or it might be giving over there to a particular area. Okay. Let me take one very live example of it. Recently, we saw one person doing it as an idea lab and trying to come out with an answer. He found out idea related to giving solution to sweet manufacturing. Okay, we buy sweets, okay, peda, kunda, or so on. Or, okay, he came out with a device through an IoT and AI and said that I want to do something related to it. Okay. So when he wants to do this, he approached an idea center, okay, or an idea lab, okay, or else it is also called as makerspace, wherein he got some material or a majority of the material related to the electronic component. Because when he's going to work an IoT, he requires a scanner. Okay, he requires a scanner. So he worked on an aspect of IoT. Okay, then he got the support of advanced computers for coding as a such. Okay, and he got the support of robotics so that he can prepare and he can work on it. Okay. So what really happened at this point was this center, okay, this center provided or a maker space for provided electronic, electrical, mechanical, robotics, technology, knowledge, and mentoring work. Okay, so that means an idea lab is an classroom which is, or it is a practical classroom for us. Okay, so when I speak of an idea lab, we find a lot of idea labs across India now. Okay, in fact the KL itself is having an idea lab. Okay, the KL engineering has got an idea lab. It is quite functioning from the AICT. It is the one which is going to give technological support to all the people who are incubated in any of those incubations. That's how the AICT has come with an incubation or the idea labs as such. Okay. So idea lab is one which is very critical for the growth and development of an incubation centers as such. Next one. Okay. What is an incubation center? That is what we dealt with it. Okay. Now we are going to deal with it something more advanced to it. Okay. Many people ask this question to us. Okay, and we look at it. What type of incubation center you are? What type of an incubation center you are, and what you really do on that? Okay, that's a very common question that we come across many a times over there. Okay, now we start with the answer telling that what you want to hear from us. Okay, and we say the answer over there. We say with an answer over there telling that we are more of a technologically driven kind of an organization. Okay, we are technologically driven incubation center. But if I have to categorize over there, you find different types of incubators. First one, you find social incubator. That's the first one. Second, academic incubation. Okay. Then you find there's a new trend over there, virtual incubation. Okay. We find corporate incubations. Okay. This is and this one virtual is a new one which has come up of late over there. Okay. Then comes medical incubation. Then comes local economic development incubation, okay, which is also called as a business incubation. Right? Okay. So let's start with incubation work. Okay. So if I have to speak about an something called as looking at a social incubation is the first one over there. This incubation center is basically meant to solve the problems related to something related to the society over there. Okay. To name over there, we have in the India over there called as Tata and Social Science over there. They are the incubations which take care very seriously about social aspects of the country. Okay, and try to incubate, develop the ideas and provide solutions to those areas where they find it difficult in the societal aspects of it. Okay, so their main focus is the first one. Okay, there's a socially developed work. Next comes academic incubators. This type of an incubation center is more focused towards students and faculty. Okay, students and faculty. Okay. Now, what you are having an incubation center at your college, or you are having an incubation center at your engineering college, or if you find incubation like this Foundation and all, they are all academic incubations. Okay. What do they do over there is that they support the students, they support the faculties. Okay, they are the one who are very serious about how to make academics and industry grow together. Okay, so those are more towards academic incubations. BT-YNAC, which comes under that, it's a university driven and it's an academic incubation zone. There is one new trend which has come over there called as virtual incubation, wherein actually you are not need to have a physical infrastructure, but virtually you are connected to this. Okay. Now, why do they do this? Why do they do this? Okay. NASCOM is doing in India over there. Okay, that's called as virtual incubators. Okay. What happens over there is that there are many people who would like to get associated with startups which have got a good potential. But these startups are located in a far off regions, or they are in a very remotely located, especially agri-tech startups over there. Either they're working in a remotely village over there, so their lab is more in the villages. Okay, so that is where one thing that comes. Okay, or else they might be working in some remote locations where they are working on a product which is completely different for it. Okay, so they are the people who are more towards those kind of an venture capitalist. Okay, so they are virtually they are connected on a different note. Virtual incubators. So what do these incubators do is that you get associated with us. We will incubate you virtually, and whatever support you require for your development of your idea, we will promote it over. Okay. So you will have a good opportunity to get an investor, okay, to get inputted for this particular product, plus the product grows over there. So it is an virtual. So this is a new trend which came up over there. Many times a startup may not really able to come and get incubated into a particular venture, okay, or in a particular startup water. They may not really get incubated. So at that point of time, you find this kind of a thing happening over there, and that is where the virtual incubation centers come into it. Next one, this is something which is a new term over there, another one that is called as corporate incubators. Okay. For example, if I have to look at it, the Mahindras, the Tatas, okay, Microsoft, okay, all they have got an exit, this one called as corporate incubators. The main intention of this is they have got different products. Apple has got over there. Okay, so what do they do over there is that they try to get linked. Okay, they try to link to the students fraternity over there. Okay, and they will try to look towards how we can develop their ideas and use our products over there, or develop our products. Like for example, if I look at it, Microsoft BI, okay, has been grown through this kind of an idea of it. Okay, it did a fantastic. Now it is one of the part of it, data analytics. Okay, so you find the corporates getting into the incubation centers and trying to provide the opportunity for the students and so on. Then comes the medical incubations, which is quite new order. The COVID has also taught us. Okay, so if I have to speak further, I'll not go to the depth of the COVID and the other things. But medical is that lot of robotics is happening in terms of medical work. So considering that particular aspect, now you find people with, okay, the medical incubation centers coming out for specifically incubating the individuals for the purpose of incubation centers. Lastly, these are called as generic, okay, generic, or they're called a business incubators. Anybody with an idea can walk into these kind of a centers and they can look into getting themselves incubated and trying to work on it. Okay, that's a basically over there. So to do this, okay, they require one very clear thing is that for what they are trying to have a incubation center and what is their mission statement. Okay, incubation center. If you are for medical, then you should have a different vision and a mission over there. If you are into CSR, your vision and mission will be different. Okay, if you are into academics over there, you need to have a different vision and mission over there. So that basically you need to look into what type of incubation center you are and try to have a vision and mission statement attached to it. Okay, very clearly into it, very clearly into it. Okay, so that is how the things are. Okay, that is how the things are. Very importantly over there, many people come out with an incubation center, but they lack something called as vision and mission. Okay? So if you have a particular domain as to where you are into incubation center, like V2INAC is more towards academics over there. So we are funding or looking at students who are coming out with us, who are the faculty who come with us with an idea, we try to give it. So vision is, and the mission is, vision is to provide support to the idea for the students and development of innovations and growth. Mission is through funding work. Okay, so funding, giving infrastructure, support, and so on. So that's why we have incubated around 10 startups and they're working towards this. Okay, so this is another one. Okay. Added to this, we find one more aspect that is related to it. What are the thrust areas? You might be having medical. In medical, what? Okay, or when we looked at engineering over there, what are the thrust areas that they came to us? Okay, so many people asked over there, okay, fine, you are having something called as a thrust areas. So V2INAC might be having a different kind of thrust areas. One, we looked at engineering. Okay, it consists of everything. Okay, engineering means everything, right from mechanical, electrical, electronics, civil, okay, robotics, AI, all those are engineering. So, okay. Plus, we also added something, a specialized field called as foundry. Okay. We also added something called as something which is related to aero. Okay, aero. Okay, these are the new things over there. Okay. Then we also added something called as nano. Okay, nano. So that means we are thrusting on a particular area. We are more interested in those areas. Okay. So an incubation center, when it gets a vision and the mission, it should also look towards its own thrust areas. And it should focus on developing only those. Okay. Like for example, you'll find with a lot of medical colleges over there, their thrust areas might be only related to the cancer cells. Okay, that's how they want to work on an idea. They're more towards this. Or there are a few of the incubation centers, they are only interested in something called as robotics in surgery. So I'm speaking of medical, which is quite easy to understand. Okay, because they're quite generic in this area. So thrust areas is very clear. Okay, IISc is more towards the aero. They are only more towards aero. Okay, the incubation center is more towards aero. Okay, so the thrust areas is there. Okay, they are working with DRDO. So there were different orders. So understand what kind of a thrust area you develop based on your vision and mission. Okay, and the type of incubation center you operate is interrelated. Is interrelated. Okay, so basically, when we start working practically over there, we start with the thrust area, then we go with our vision, and then we come with our type of incubation. But when we are teaching, we go with this flow over there. Okay, we go with this flow. So that's how the difference is. But ultimately, these three things are very important over there. Then the next question, what we get with many people over asking over there, telling that, sir, is there any difference between infrastructure and incubation center? Yes, it is. Okay. What infrastructure you require? One is, okay, to make the people sit. Okay, that is one, sitting arrangements. You give them the space. Second, you give them technology. Three, you give them labs. Okay. Fourth one, okay, you will give one very important aspect called as mentoring. Mentoring is another important domain which comes along over there, and you try. So there is a strong relationship between infrastructure and incubation center. It is not only physical infrastructure, but it is also service-driven kind of an infrastructure. So that is why I am using the word called as the service aspect over there. One of the most important activity what we find with this academics or any of the incubation center is to give appropriate services. Okay. So it is a service driven kind of an or the activity driven kind of an center. Okay. And it is something which is very important for us to look into it. Okay. And how best you are able to give the service. Service might be in the form of mentoring, idea lab, maker space, okay, giving the connection for the venture capitalist, okay, giving the space for the lab over there, okay, or funding them through different schemes, okay, or you give them morals, because we are also finding it over when you are in the idea stage and your development stage, we get a lot of people get frustrated over, so you require a lot of mentoring over there, okay, and giving insights on the market growth, market development. Okay, these are the basic activities. Okay, what we do day in, day out over there. And this is something which is very challenging many a times also. Okay, wherein you find people really get bogged down with these kind of things which you find as a such. Okay, the next one, when we look at it, okay, students, what would be the students' connection to the incubation center over there? Okay, very important thing. There's something called as National Innovation and Startup Policy. Okay. Let it be any student over there. If you have got an incubation center, allow them to experiment their ideas. We have very interesting statistics over there. If there are 10 students who are there, okay, 9 of them fail in the idea, one gets clicked over. Okay, and one that clicks over there with the idea, okay, he can grow with a prototype, he can look into commercialization, and he can make his own startup operate in that center itself. It takes around a year or 2 or so. Okay. So students come out with an idea. So that is how we are grooming entrepreneurship over there. Okay, that is how we are grooming with this. Okay. So we get a lot of people right now. Recently, there was one person who was working with IPR thing. Okay, he has developed an AI-based kind of an incubation center. Last 1 year back, he was over there. He looked at an idea, we looked at it and tried to mentor it. And today it is in the stage where we are going to have an startup being done. Okay, he is going to commercialize over there. So he'll be registering himself in Startup India. Okay, he'll be registering in Startup India. So that's how a student gets it over there. Okay. Likewise, if a faculty is associated with the student in that particular project, he can also be a part of an incubation center. That means faculty can be a partner with student. He can be a partner with student in an incubation center. That means if there is a revenue, we can definitely share it with faculty. And that's depends on how the incubation centers come out with the rules and regulations, or how the organization comes with the rules and regulations. Okay. Now, when we looked at it, we told that he can give to a student, can give if the startup is successful, up to 2% of his net profit can be given to a faculty. Okay. So there is a very interesting story. Okay. Razor Pay is 4,000 crore company. Okay, and it was incubated in IIT, Mumbai, and it grew there. It grew there. Okay, and faculties were also involved. Okay, if there is an agreement between that, if that has happened over that, as the 2% is there, the faculty makes a good money out of it. Okay, it goes on a different level. Okay, it goes on a different level. Okay, so there are many examples to quote over there. okay, where the students and faculty together have groomed and developed a lot of products over there, and incubation centers have supported a lot over there. It makes sense. It makes sense to it. Okay, so how best you can look into it. Of course, main important thing what we have seen with this is support to the startups over there. Okay, in the incubation center is one predominantly is good space. Okay, that's how we look at it. That's the first one. Okay, space includes okay good technological support. Okay, and second, what we have funding opportunities. What people look at it and incubation center is funding opportunities. Okay, and the most of the top of all this, what makes our the mentoring a good mentoring system. Okay. I've seen some of the very interesting incubation center or successful incubation centers. Their main magic is mentors. Okay. That's how it is. So how you get the mentors to ment? Okay, it is not teaching; it is mentoring. Okay. We have seen few mentors who are with that startup completely on. Okay, and they do charge, but they make it a very successful mentors order. Okay, successful startups. So that is something different what they look at it. So there are different supports what they look at it as such. Added to this, there's one new term which is coming into the place recent order. Okay, which was not a part of incubation center, but there's a part of incubation center now. Skill center and incubation center. Okay, skilling and incubation. Now, what does it mean is that students have or the faculty have an idea, but they don't have a skill. Okay? Like for example, you have something in an AI, but you don't know how to work on an AI. Okay. AI Skill Development Center is a part of incubation center. Okay, so you conduct training programs, you develop skill development programs as a part of incubation center over there. Okay, so that is where you are trying to groom the skills one. You might charge a certain amount or you might give free of cost. It depends on the organization or it depends on the incubation center, how they look at it. So now what is important in this context is skilling and incubation center should go hand in hand. They should go hand in hand. Okay? So that is where you find the incubation centers and the aspect of the things. So when we look at the aspect okay, of incubations over there, okay, we find it very important for us as to how you look at a particular incubation center as such, okay, and how you promote it. Okay. So that's a basic briefing about it. In fact, it takes a lot of time for us to understand it from all the angles, the incubation center. What I've done is that brief overview of what is an incubation center is being told today. So if you have got any questions, anything, please, I'm okay for it. Any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yeah,
So Viraj is here.
yeah, Viraj.
I had a question. So I'm not a video student.
Yeah,
So what are the facilities if
yeah,
I
I'm not able to hear
if
you.
I want to visit VTU IQ Center?
Hello. Viraj, can you text it?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, Viraj, tell me.
So am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
Sir, I'm not a VTU student now. So
Okay.
what if I want to visit VTU Incubation Center?
Yeah, you can. You can. You can. You can. Definitely you can. Okay. And what we do is that we have annual pitching competition over there. Okay, in that we invite this one. But what we have done over there is that you should get associated with somebody in the VTO over there, ecosystem, maybe affiliated college, autonomous college, anybody you can get associated over there. And you should be some of them co-partner. If you want to visit, you can always come and visit us. We are open for it. To get incubated, you need to be somebody who is a part of our system.
So I had a question.
Yeah. Anybody else?
So, okay, am I audible?
Yeah, please.
So what are the government support for the incubators?
There are many. Okay. Now, if I have to speak over there, incubators over there, as an incubator over there, if you're Section 8 company, then you get from Vidhi Prayas to DST. Okay. Karnataka government over there, KST has been given. Okay. KTEC is there. Okay. You name it, you get it. Okay. You get it over there. Okay. So the support is huge right now. Support is huge. Okay. But the thing is, there are very few takers for this. Very few takers for this. Okay. The government wants a very clear-cut idea as to where you're going to use, how you're going to use. Okay, so it does, but there are many successful incubation centers which we are seeing. Okay, in India itself, there's Atal Incubation Center is there. Okay, Atal funding is there. TST funding is there. Okay, so a lot of fundings are there. Lot of fundings are there. They do happen. The tinkering lab, what has been seen, okay, right now is an incubation center, is a maker space for a school kids over there. That is how it is. That has been funded to a lot of schools across Belgaum. If you just look at in Belgaum itself, you'll find the tinkering labs happening over there. Okay, they have been funded and they are doing extremely well over there. Okay, so they are trying to give entrepreneurship through tinkering labs over there. So there's funding opportunities are plenty, okay, for an incubation center, even for a startup. Okay, I suggest you look into Startup India schemes over there. You'll find it a list of. If you have an entrepreneurship, your firm is registered with a SIN number with all the required documents, I think you do get an opportunity. Yeah. I hope I've answered your question.
So I have a doubt, like what is Atal funding as you mentioned earlier?
Huh?
So Atal funding you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Atal Incubation Center is an incubation center scheme being given by the central government over there. Okay, so if you visit the Atal Incubation Center scheme over there, you'll get the details as such. It is meant for developing the incubation centers. Okay, and there, how many startups are there? For them, the development is being given. Look into Atal Incubation Center. Okay, you will get the most of the details over there. That is something which is really nice happening across the country. You'll also find the list of incubation centers which have been funded over there. Okay, you can find it over there. The nearest what you find in Belgaum over there is Deshpande Foundation. That is one. Second, you go to Goa. Goa Institute of Management has got another one, Atal Incubation Center. They are fantastic over there. V2NX is still in the process. Okay, there's one thing. Okay. Yeah, there is also one hand raised from Mukund. I hope so. Ankita Agarwal, that's okay with it. Fine.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Mukund Purohit.
Sir, for the government support, do we have to be a part of any institution?
I'm not able to hear.
Sir, for the government support, sir.
I'm not able to hear you. I'm not able to hear you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Just a second, sir. Sir, for the government support, sir, government funding, do we have to be a part of any institution or can we opt it?
No,
Sorry?
directly you cannot. You need to get yourself incubated. You need to get yourself ideas registered over there. You need to be registered with any of the startup or the incubation center. Then you get opportunity. Then you get opportunity. So you need to get associated with it. I hope so, Mukund. It's quite good for it. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, please.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, sir. Nachiket this side.
Yeah, Nachiket. I have sensed it. Tell me.
Yeah, sir. I just had one question. Supposing I had an idea for doing a technological startup and I don't have a technical knowledge. Do incubation center connect me with a technical person who can be my co-founder, and so that I can avoid paying heavy salary to the technical people.
Yes. So what we do over there at this point of time is that if you have got an idea, okay, it might be with the co-founder, with the founders, or whatever the group, or one individual over there, that does not make sense. You got an idea, an individual has come with a group of individuals have come with an idea. You select an incubation center, which is going to give you mentoring support over there. A mentor evaluates how your idea is there. Okay. And if that idea is well prepared, then he will tell you to go in for commercialization. Okay, that means or developing a prototype of it. Okay, so an incubation center gives you an diagnostic view as to what your idea is and what your idea needs a development of it. So mentoring is something which is important for that. So you can always look into it.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else? I think we are done with it. Yeah.
I think no more questions.
Yeah.
So we'll conclude the session.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yes, sir.
It has been an honor to be a part of this wonderful session. On behalf of all the students, I'm glad to be expressing the vote of thanks. A special thanks to our spokesperson for the day, Dr. Praveen Kulkarni, for accepting our invitation and being with us today. Your thoughts have truly educated us on this subject. I would like to thank all of you for being here and making this a great session. Hope you have a great day ahead. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mukund.
Thank you, Praveen.
Thank you,
sir.
madam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. And sorry, apologies for change of the dates and all. I'm extremely sorry for that. Okay? Yeah.
No problem, sir. No problem. But it was very informative. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes. Sir.